Just to add my next question into this, because it kind of leads it. So, if you talk a little about what you look for in terms of an exit as well, and because the expectation of that capital.
Sustainability.
Yeah. I think I'll speak for myself. It is a portfolio approach. So I think when you look at the portfolio, you want to be confident that you have some in there that are probably going to bring some big returns home. But if you have confidence that you have some good opportunities in that space, again, we're constantly balancing the mission, right? And so if I was just a straight up VC, totally return driven, my thesis would be different. But so when a really interesting technology that can make an impact in healthcare, but might be like a single or a double, we still might do it. We are doing them actually. So, but then that gets to kind of partnering, where those are more, I would say, sometimes products or bolt-ons to existing partners' product portfolio, and so it's a win for them too, right? So it really, I think the portfolio approach helps make sure that you're going to have some big winners in there, but at the same time, as opposed to just a purely financial investor, we have to deliver on the mission, which takes us into deals that may not be as lucrative financially, but still may impact patients in a positive manner.
Thanks, Mike. Mackenzie?
Yeah, and to echo what Mike said about being mission-driven, that's something that is definitely the ethos at Rock Health. One thing we say is we're trying to make healthcare massively better for every human being, and so that's something that we look for both in the companies that we evaluate, and then also in the research that we do. And so one thing just to note as we as I talk a little bit about the category is that we evaluate and we do research. And one thing that we do is we look at every digital health company in the US that has raised more than $2 million in venture funding. So maybe some of you have seen our annual funding in digital health reports or our quarterly funding in digital health reports, and we've been doing that since 2011. So as we are both a research organization and a seed stage fund, one thing that I certainly hear a lot of the organization is looking to maximize for impact based on evidence and research, which as I was joining Rock Health as an entrepreneur in residence, thought was really interesting and really compelling. As far as auspicious signs of an early stage company, entrepreneurs will hear this a lot, looking at the team, looking at the founders and the background of the founders and the connection to what they're building, and that's always a really positive sign if you have an experienced founder or a very passionate founder, because it's all about learning really quickly when you're building a company. Another thing that is unique to early stage investing and being on the other side of it as an entrepreneur who is raising early stage funding is that a lot of times you're pre-revenue. And so what you're really doing is you're trying to convince people to bet on not just the category, but about you're convincing people to bet on sort of your version of the future, and you can evidence that in a lot of ways. Sometimes you can have things like letters of intent from future customers, and other times you can have that qualitative feedback from other leaders in your space. And so that's another thing that you see a great deal in early stage investing. And then as far as any sort of exit opportunities or sustainability in the category, 2017 saw virtually 0 IPOs in the digital health category, and so a saying that I'm seeing a lot more now is that digital health M&A is the new IPO.
And so where does your capital come from, and what are the expectations on that capital in terms of return?
Yep, so our LPs are actually other funds. And these other funds can usually go beyond the seed stage, so that's also really, I think, exciting. And sorry, what was the other question?
Expectations on return on that capital.
Yeah, and expectations as far as...
When you say there are other funds, what do you mean by that? Sorry, they are larger funds investing in a smaller fund.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so larger funds, and then as far as expectation of return, so like I was saying, M&A is the new IPO, and so we're looking at down the road. We're seeing a lot of larger healthcare companies really acquire sort of promising early stage digital health solutions.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Chris, keep it. We've got 20 minutes and I've got loads to ask, so just...
All right, I'll be quick. So we're very unique, like I said earlier, because we do SPVs, so we don't maybe necessarily target a minimum ownership versus maybe some funds do. So we're flexible in that end. So as far as returns, obviously I would say because we're earlier stage, we very much look at comparables and we want to, make something that's still substantial. And as far as who our LPs are, we have a few high net worth individuals and family offices that back us. So that's kind of how we do our investments.
Perfect, Chris. Thank you.
So we actually have investors. We don't have LPs. We're set up as an LLC, and so we have a number of investors, mainly high net worth individuals from Houston. In terms of expectations of returns, we expect to make a return at some point. But our philosophy is that we have a robust portfolio and we look at new science because we are primarily in pharma currently, so it's a long time horizon. So we assume if it's strong science, we can play a very active role from a de-risking point of view, and it's a large enough portfolio. Eventually, we will get that return.
That's a good answer. So from our point of view, it's right now it's our own capital, and our viewpoint is more of an entrepreneurial viewpoint. If you build good companies and work with good people and have good science and not focus solely on the exit, you will actually get a really good exit. And that's so what we try to do is just build really good companies, and then the exits generally will just hopefully will come. And so that's our kind of philosophy on exits. I don't like discussing these things at the board for hours and hours and like navel gazing at what's the exit going to look like. Let's just build a really good company, or like a proper company, and the exits will come. And in the future, with our new seed fund, it's very much all high net worth angel investors who are investing into the fund because of the tax structure that we've set up in the UK, and we'll literally have to deploy all the capital every year as per the structure. So the expectations are that we will return capital in 5 to 8 years, but we have a different philosophy on the exit.